WAPDA to present his presentation on the topic of WAPDA's role in hydropower development. Can we please have a silence in hall?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, I am Mohammad Azam Joya, General Manager WAPDA. I'm here to apprise all of you about WAPDA's role in hydropower development. Next, please. I think most of us know about creation of WAPDA. It was created under an Act of Parliament, and on the pattern of United States of America's Tennessee Valley Authority, because that was also created for integrated and rapid development and maintenance of water and power resources of the country. On the same lines, WAPDA was created after Indus Basin Treaty. Next. And as per WAPDA's charter, we had to work on the irrigation, water supply and drainage, and recreational use of water. Moreover, generation, transmission, distribution of power, and construction and maintenance of powerhouses, transmission lines, which this all part has now gone to the DISCOs and NTDC after the bifurcation of WAPDA. And more than that, the flood control, prevention of waterlogging, reclamation of waterlogged lands, and inland navigation. It was charter of duties of WAPDA while it was created. Next, please. So it's very important. Till now, WAPDA has many feeders in its cap. 15 dams, 16 canals, 7 barrages, 62 drainage schemes, 23 hydropower projects. As per today's topic, with 9,476 megawatt capacity, and more than that, thermal powers as well, grid stations, distribution network, village electrification. So it's the WAPDA's journey since 1958 to 2023. So WAPDA has a rich history of developing each and every corner of Pakistan during the previous 65 years. And it has an immense role in the economic growth of the Pakistan. You will see ahead as well. Next, please. So these are the engineering icons which are known all over in the world of Pakistan's known engineering icons, the famous Tarbela, the Mangla and Chashma. I want to share one of the events with you that we had Mr. Magil. He is our resident engineer for T5 project. He once told me that when he was student at UK, you know that on their notebooks there was print mark of Tarbela Dam. And I used to think always that when the time will come when I will see this icon of engineering, and now he is here working on T5 extension project. Next, please. Other than Tarbela, Mangla and Chashma, WAPDA has developed Ghazi Brota, a very successful project of 1450 megawatts. Neelam Jhelum, no doubt, it was very challenging, and after collapse of last year of its tunnel, WAPDA has again revived it to its better capacity. And Tarbela Force Extension, as I told earlier, it was a really very different project. On one end, it has enhanced our hydro capacity, but on the other end, it has given us a way to face the challenge of sediment coming in the Indus continuously. That sediment is really now a challenge. It has no doubt deposited in the lake of Tarbela and reduced its capacity by 40%. And on the other end, it's also moving towards the main structures. So to avoid that challenge, we have to raise the intake of Tarbela 4th. And on the same line, now we are working on Tarbela 5th extension as well. Next. Sir, with all these projects in front of you, WAPDA, the energy mix of Pakistan, the WAPDA's role is at present is 28.7%. As out of total 121 billion units which are generated per year, WAPDA's contribution is 37 billion units. And as it was discussed before, yet our tariff stands around 3.37 rupees per kilowatt hour. as compared to thermal and others. And with the passage of time, WAPDA is further thinking that the hydel portion should further enhance so as we can subsidize the overall energy value chain and bring it to a lower end. So as energy, our economy may again grow better. Next slide. Next, please. This is just a glimpse of our water sources of Pakistan, which are available with us. That our Indus Basin are fed by rain by about 25 to 35%, and by snow and glaciers from 65 to 75%. And if we talk of surface water, 166 million acre-feet surface water is available with us, and we are extracting groundwater of about 50 million acre-feet. So we have to play with the water sources within this range, which we get annually, and how we use it further, please. Next. So it's the variability of flows. No doubt we get 166 million acre-feet of water from different sources. If I talk of Indus, we get an average of 143 million acre-feet at an average. But it's not a sustained flow. Sometimes we get more of it, as you can see in 1978-79, we got 183 million acre-feet. And on the other end, in 2001-2, we got 99 million acre-feet. So this variability doesn't give us sustainability to have our waters for the irrigation supplies of different provinces. So we cannot meet our intent unless we store these waters properly, because most of this water comes in only 100 days, 80% of water, whereas the remaining 20% we get in 265 days. So during this tenure of 100 days, we have to store this water so as it can be used for the remaining part of the year. It's a very simple way to understand. Next, please. Next slide. So it's a very interesting slide. It will tell you that how we have grown ourselves and what we have done with our water sources of the country. The red line shows the growth rate of our population. In 1951, all of us know, we were 34 million people. And with the passage of time, now we have grown up to almost 241 million. And with this, the per capita availability of water, it was more than 5,000 in 1951, which has now come down with the passage of time to almost 858 cubic meters. So now when you come below 1,000 cubic meter, 1,000 cubics of water, you fall in the water scarce country. So now we are falling in that areas. The green line shows the canal withdrawals. With the passage of time, with the addition of Trivela and Mangla, we went to a better position, but now again we are on declining side. So we need more water storages. Next. So Pakistan is moving with all these challenges that on one end, our storages, which was developed years ago, we couldn't add up the further one. On the other end, the population on rise, our per capita water is coming down. Next, please. If we talk of the carryover of capacity of the water, as compared to the other countries, America, Egypt, Australia, South Africa, India, Pakistan stands with only 30 days of carryover capacity, whereas our neighboring country, India, that stands with the 170 days of carryover capacity. So it's another challenge that we can compare where we stand in the world. Next, please. Sir, as I told earlier, we had Trivela, we had Mangla, we had Chashma. No doubt we had those with a better live storage capacity. But with the passage of time and with the inflowing sediment into these reservoirs, the capacity is getting reduced by day. If I talk only of Trivela, we are getting almost 200 million tons per annum of sediment in the reservoir. And 90% of it is trapped in the reservoir, only 10% escapes away from it. And with this, the live storage capacity of both of these reservoirs has come down from 9.69 to 18.64. million acre feet. And we have almost lost 28% our storages in these three main reservoirs. Next, please. So on the one hand, we are losing our storages, and on the other hand, we are also facing the climatic pattern changes and the rainwater pattern changes and the Gulf events. And WAPDA, having gone with the mega projects, suffers a lot due to the climatic effects. As the melting glaciers, the increase in frequency of what the weather events, the Gulf events, the sea water rise, and uncertainty of water availability. These challenges which affects our projects, which we are taking up right now. Next time. Under repair. It's about the Mohammed Dam project. You will see that the shutters coming out of the tunnels, you will see right now. And the Dasu project also suffered from these abnormal flows of water. Even the Tribilla fifth extension, the water is falling on our proposed site of the powerhouse. Next slide. The Gulf events hit twice of our completed Golden Goal hydropower projects. Once in 2019, you can see the comparison of the pictures before the Gulf hit the project and afterwards. Next, please. It's another way. The Gulf again hit the same project in 2020. Next slide. And the next challenge is the depleting groundwater. All of us know that what's happening to the groundwater of cities and our areas. These are continuously falling due to over-extraction and imbalance of recharge in those areas. And neither we have planned about it. Next slide, please. Next. So now what we have with us? Many speakers who came on the stage, they talk about the renewable energy, the solar, the wind. But my stance is different, being from WAPDA. I will say that God has gifted us with Indus, right starting from the Tibet Lake of Mansour, which enters into Pakistan at an altitude of 8,430 feet. And it falls into the sea at an 590 altitude. And that Indus carries immense amount of water with it. Only what we have to do, we have to explore it. You can see what WAPDA has started out. Right wherein it starts into Pakistan, we have Shiok, we have Skardu, we have Tangas, Yelbug, and you can see the yellow part, the Amir Basha and Dasu, those are under construction, but yet the Patan is left, the Thakur is left. Trabela is complete, where is further are the Khodi, Kalabag, and at the bottom is the Tonsa, which are on the way. Now, where these projects stand and what WAPDA is doing on these projects, please go ahead. You can see from here, the green parts shows these projects are in operation. The Chashma is in operation, Jinnah, Ghazi Prota, and Trabela. And the yellow part, these are identified, desk studies completed. So you can see, the golden part is about the under construction project. As I told earlier, the fifth extension, the Dasu, and the Amir Basha. And for the blue, the feasibility is complete. For the Shiok, we are ready. For the Patan, for Thakur 1, 2, 3, and the Khodi, the study is over. And for the red one, Bunji, which is a very nice run-of-river project, WAPDA has completed detailed design of this project. So we are gifted with the Indus to Pakistan. I think if we explore these areas, we will be having enough storages and more than enough hydropower with us. Please next. It's just an overview of the ongoing projects on these WAPDA's portfolio. We are going with the Amir Basha of 8.1 million acre feet capacity, and which will add up 4,500 megawatt to our generation. And similar is the Dasu hydropower project. It's a phase 1, which will add up to more than 2,000 megawatt to the capacity. And the Tibela fifth extension, if all of you remember, it was the last tunnel which was available for the irrigation. It was constructed at the after the completion of the project. So WAPDA is working on it. With this, we will get 1530 megawatts of hydel. And the yellow one is very different project. That is the floating solar project. So WAPDA has taken this, I will say this step, rather very different step, that we are going for the solar projects. But these solar project will be in our ponds. One is the Ghazi pond, and the second is the head pond at Tarbela. So both will be having almost 150 megawatt capacity, and the third one will be in the main lake of Tarbela of 25 megawatt. It will be a pilot project. And if our pilot project proves to be a success, the whole lake, with the passage of time, can be converted into a lake of floating solar with almost 7,000 megawatt capacity. This study has been conducted, and we are working on it with the help of World Bank right now. Next slide. As I told earlier, the ongoing mega projects, when those mega projects come into the play, they get completed, the gross storage capacity will be added up by 9.9 million acre feet. Whereas the power generation, as I told earlier, right, we have 9,000 something with us right now, but 9,000 more will be added. And right now, the social uplift schemes in Basha, Dasu, Mohammed, T5 areas are going on of almost 102 billion rupees. And the people working over there are more than 35,000 where jobs were created. And land will be irrigated after these projects. That is about 3.9 million acres. And it will add up to the urban water supplies as well of about 560 million gallons. Next slide. Thank you. Next slide. As I told earlier that WAPDA on one hand has completed the mega projects. On the other hand, many mega projects are on way. And some projects which are ready to kick off are Bunji, Dasu, stage 2, the Thakot on Indus stage 1, 2 and 3, and the Kyalkhar project, Atabad Lake hydropower project, Patan hydropower projects. And lastly, the Kalabag is also with us. Whenever we get the consensus, the things will be on the way. Next please. With all these projects, what will happen to our storages and to our hydro energy? With the passage of time, the storage at present we have 13.65 million acre feet. It will go by to 25.37 by 2030, and further add up by 2040, 42.47 million, and by 2015, inshallah, it will be 50.07 million acre feet with the passage of time and by completion of the projects. Next time. And in terms of megawatt hydropower sources, which is 9470 at present, it will add up to 24,000 megawatt by 2030, whereas it will further rise to more than 39,000 by 2040 and more than 51,000 by 2050. So WAPDA is playing its role through execution of the projects with facing all challenges. The challenge of security, the technical challenges, the difficult sides. If Basha, you people have visited, you might have seen how the project is going on, always facing challenges. And the Neelam Jalam it was a very charismatic project in spite of all its engineering challenges. Next slide. Sir, WAPDA is committed to foster renewable, clean, green and economical energy. And it will try that the energy balance again shifts to the hydropower. And it will, with these projects, we will be able to combat climate changes, the environmental impacts. And luckily, WAPDA has continuously support from the world-renowned donors, the financiers, and the consultants. You can see right from Trivela till now, we have world-renowned consultant with us. So WAPDA itself is developing its own team as well with those consultants. So as WAPDA acts as a technical bank of engineers, you can see WAPDA's people all around in every consulting firms. You can see the other projects as well. Mostly will be from the WAPDA. And WAPDA really is striving hard for a better future of Pakistan. With all these projects, I assure you, we'll be having a brighter and better future. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, GM Vapda, Mr. Azam Joya, for showing the brighter picture of Pakistan and the bigger picture of challenges Vapda has faced and how they are mitigating these challenges. Now, I would like to request Mr. Nurul Arifin Zubairi, Advisor, China 3 Gorges, to present his presentation on 720 megawatt Karod hydropower project, a success story. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Mr. Zubairi.
So, Halima, can I start?
Yes, sir, please.
Let me first of all congratulate Energy Update on organizing this important conference. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. And most important, this is a most important basically topic which has been given to me. And the topic is that I should present experiences of the China 3 Gorges for implementing 720 megawatt Karod hydro projects and its success story. Next, please. अच्छा, ठीक है. नहीं, वो slide change करने के लिए, slide change करने. Now, it is a very brief presentation, not very long presentation. First of all, I will throw light on the project sponsors, which are CTG and CSAIL. I will touch upon the Karod hydropower projects, its key features, update the benefits this project has. I will present the project features, and obviously I will be talking about the CSR and the corporate social responsibility and CIP, and I will be talking about the key successes of the Karod hydropower project. In the end, I will try to conclude it with some conclusion. Project sponsors. Next, please. Now, this China 3 Gorges is the owner, developer, and the operator of the world's largest hydropower projects. Its capacity is around 22,000 megawatts. The company was created in 1994, and it has a total installed capacity of around 125,000 megawatts. They are not operating only in China, they are operating in 40 different countries of the world. You can very well assess their strength, financial strength. They have total assets of around $100 billion, and they have an annual turnover of about $5 billion. Next, please. Now, there is a China 3 Gorges. It is a main group company. Then there is a China 3 Gorges International, and China 3 Gorges International handles all projects which are outside China. Then there is a China 3 Gorges CSAIL investment company, which is developing actually 6 projects in Pakistan. These projects are being developed through special purpose company. All these companies are registered in Pakistan, and all these projects they are doing in Pakistan. Next, please. Now, if the portfolio of our project consists of 6 projects, 3 are wind power projects, and then there is a Karod project which is 720 megawatt. Our Kohala project is 1124 megawatt, and Mahal project is around 640 megawatt. The wind power projects and Karod projects are under operation. They are providing reliable power to the national grid. Kohala and Mahal project is under development. We have a total portfolio of around 6,000 megawatts and 2,600 megawatts, and total investment is around $6 billion. Next, please. Next, please. Now, if you see, this is the layout of the project. This is a typical project which is in 2 different territories. One is in Punjab and the other is in AJK. Main project components are in Punjab, which are dam, powerhouse, colony, and spillway. Basically, the river is the center line. On the upper side, it is AJK, and where the whole components are, it is in Punjab. Our dam, half of the dam is in Punjab and half of the dam is in AJK. Next, please. Now, this Karod is a very, very unique project in Pakistan. First of all, it is the largest private sector hydropower project which has been developed under Private Power Policy 2002. It means that construction risk, financial risk, and operation and maintenance risk has been borne by the company. Again, it is a unique because it is located in two different territories, Punjab and AJK. This is the largest hydropower project which is in operation under CPEC. This is a project which is located very close to the load center. Just before this presentation, WAPDA has presented that Dasu and Bhasha are located very far away from the load center. This is just 1.5 hour drive from Islamabad. I always say this project is just very close to the load center. Another important point is that there is no significant environmental issues for this project. The project has been developed by well-experienced company having ample technical and financial strength, which is CTG. There is a security for this project is being provided by Pakistan Army, so it is having a foolproof security. Under CIP, the company has constructed hospitals, school, bridges, roads, scholarships. Next, please. Now, the main strength of the Karot hydropower project is that, first of all, the strong sponsors. Sponsors has a financial and technical strength to develop this project. The EPC contract, TGDC is the EPC contract which has already worked in China 3 Gorges main project of 22,500 megawatt. The project is under CPEC and it has multiple benefits. Next, please. Now, this is again a project which is very close to the national grid. Neelam Jhelum line is just passing 3 kilometers from the project Karot site. And for that, NTDC has constructed 3 kilometers of line having 10 towers. And we were very fortunate, this project is unique, that NTDC constructed the line far ahead of the project. The line was constructed in December 2021 and the project was commissioned in June 2022. Next, please. Now, for this project, the company carried out detailed environmental studies through a very reputed consultant, which is Hegler Bailey. Now, this environmental study was carried out. It was approved by Punjab. It was approved by AJK IPA. It was approved by IFC. It was approved by Silk Road Fund. And it is a unique environmental study which also carried out basically biodiversity management plan. And this biodiversity management plan was implemented during construction phase and also it is being implemented during operation phase. Next, please. Now, the development of hydro project needs a lot of patience, a lot of persistency, because CTG is in the business, so they has delivered the project well in time with patience. If you see, the project development time is around 10 years. PPIB issued LOI to this project in 2007. Construction period was 5.5 years, 5.5 years, and project will be operated for 30 years. Next, please. Now, the key stakeholders for this project are obviously sponsors, which are China 3 Gorges South Asian Investment Limited. Lenders are Export-Import Bank of China, which has provided around $600 million of financing. Then there is a China Development Bank. They have provided around $500 million. Silk Road Fund has provided around $200 million. And IFC is there. The IFC has provided $100 million. Employer is obviously Karot Power Company, the special purpose company which has been registered in Pakistan. Employer engineer is the SMEC. EPC contractor is TGDC. O&M contractor is CTGO. Next, please. Next. Now, these are the key features of this project. If you see, the capacity is 720 megawatt. It will generate around 3206 gigawatt hours of energy. The project model is BOT. It will be transferred to government of Punjab at a notional rupee, 1 rupee cost. The tariff which NEPRA has determined is around 7.615 cents per kWh, and the project cost is $1.74 billion. Now, this is an important slide. You know, this China 3 Gorges has a financial strength and the technical strength. For hydel projects, it is very important that construction should be started at a time when there is low water months. This project is located on main Jhelum River, so the time period was very important. Although project achieved financial close in February 22, 2017, but the construction of this project started in 2016 in the low water months. From their equity, they started the construction. Next, please. This is the details of all agreements. I don't need to go into it. Next, please. Now, if you see the timeline, in 2010, the project company was formed. In 2014, the project was included in the CPEC. In 2015, EPC contract was signed. Construction was started in 2016. Project achieved financial close in 2017. And river closure was done in 2018. First rotor was lifted in 2021. And project achieved COD in 2022. Next, please. Now, the project benefits. This project is being done in the private sector. It has tremendous benefits to all. First of all, this project with a cost of $1.7 billion will be transferred at ₹1 to Government of Punjab because powerhouse is located in Punjab. This company has provided job to around 5,000 locals during construction, and at the moment there are 150 locals which are operating this project. Next, please. During construction phase, the company has paid around 13.34 billion rupees in terms of taxes. This is withholding tax and this is sales tax on the construction services. And during operation, the company is paying 675 million rupees to each, to Government of Punjab and to Government of AJK in terms of water use charge. In total, the company will be paying 20.234 billion to Government of Punjab and Government of AJK during the 30 years. Next, please. It generates cheap energy of 3206 gigawatt hours, and the project will reduce annual carbon dioxide emissions to around 3.5 million tons. Next, please. Now, this is very important. This is the only project in Pakistan which was commissioned 1 year ahead of scheduled time. According to the IGSAP, which was prepared by NTTC, approved by NEPRA on September 24, 2020. According to it, Karot commissioning date was June 2023. But the project, with the support of PPIB, with the support of NEPRA, with the support of CPPGA, with the support of NTTC, was successful in commissioning this project in June 2022, despite there was a COVID. During the COVID, all the things were delayed. But this is a unique project which was completed much ahead of time. Next, please. Now, we celebrated 1 year of anniversary, and I'm glad to tell that total energy generated from June 22 to June 23 was 3640 gigawatt hours. It generated about 400 gigawatt hours of more energy. Next, please. These are some pictures. These pictures show that this project is so important to Government of Pakistan and Government of China that both head of states participated in the groundbreaking ceremony. Next, please. These are the pictures. You can just flip it. Just flip it. One important thing is that under this project, the company has constructed 7 bridges. 2 are on main Jhelum River. One is at Karot and the other is at Azad Patan. There is one suspension bridge and there are 4 small bridges. Next, please. This is a dam site. You can see this is an intake structure. This is a spillway. Next, please. Next, please. These are the pictures. Just flip it. Just flip it. Now, next, please. China Three Gorges believes that the benefits of the project should be shared by the local community always. So company prepared a community investment plan with a cost of 655 million rupees to improve the health facilities, provide drinking water facilities, provide educational facilities, infrastructure improvement and recreational facilities to the local community. Next, please. Under the CIP in Punjab, We have constructed boys' schools, we have constructed girls' school, we have constructed rest house, we have constructed a dispensary, we have augmented rural water supply, we have constructed a new emergency block in Kahuta Hospital, we have constructed access roads in Tehsil headquarters Punjab, we have basically rehabilitated Kahuta Club, and we have constructed new natal care center at Tehsil headquarters Kahuta. Next please. These are the pictures. Next. Again, similar type of activities have also been done in case of AJK. Next please. These are the pictures of this. Now some CSR activities. Now the company, under its corporate social responsibility, launched a fully funded scholarship program for 4-year BSc electrical engineering for the students of that area. Company selected the students from the area which were displaced. An agreement was signed with Punjab University and Jiangxi University. It was a split program, 2 years in Punjab and 2 years in China. And these 33 students were selected in 2017, 18 students were selected in 2017, 18 students were selected in 2018, 15 students were selected. All these students have done BSc electrical engineering. The company has actually provided job to about 12 students. Remaining students are at various other places. Next please. Next please. These are the pictures of the students. Next please. Another important thing, during the COVID, the company provided the protection equipment to the local community and to the government of Pakistan. This equipment came to Pakistan through special chartered flights. Special ceremonies were held in China and in Pakistan when we received this equipment, and this equipment was provided to NDMA, which is the entity of the federal government, and to the local departments also. Next please. Last year there was a flood. The company donated around $650,000 to the Prime Minister of Pakistan to provide protection against the flood. Next please. We have received many awards. I will just show you how many awards this company has received. Just gives a summary. I don't need to go into the details of these awards. Please, next. These are the pictures, some pictures of the awards which we have received. Next please, just flip it. Next please. Next please. Next please. Next please. And when, next please. Next please. Next please. Next please. Now this project, Karot project, was declared best project in the CPEC. When the 100 years of CPEC was celebrated, our company was given special award that this Hydel project is a unique project of the CPEC, which was completed ahead of time and which is operating and providing a reliable power to the national grid. Next please. Now I will be just highlighting some of the key successes. Now the project acquired around 24,000 canals of land without much hassle. Resettlement of local population was done with full satisfaction of the local people. It achieved financial close according to the LOS which was issued to the company. Sought timely approvals from various government departments. Sometimes this is a very difficult task to get approvals from various departments of the government, and all these approvals were sought in a timely manner. There was the issue of the tax sharing. Punjab has a different tax arrangement, AJK has a different tax arrangement. So tax sharing arrangement was worked out with the support of PBIB, and both AJK and Punjab were satisfied. Resolved, there was an issue of that when the project was under construction, the provincial government levied 60% sales tax on construction services. The issue was resolved very amicably within 6 months. Next please. Another important thing, in this project we have constructed bridges. According to the law of Pakistan, the design of the bridges has to be approved by Government of Punjab and Government of AJK. So timely approvals were sought, and these bridges has been transferred either to Government of Punjab or to AJK. Handle the laborers at the site and labor union issues very effectively at the Karot site. All issues with the NTDC were resolved, and NTDC completed the transmission line well ahead of time. All technical issues were resolved in a timely manner. Resolved the issue of the type test. There was the issue of the type test due to which it was feared that project will be delayed. The success of project encouraging local international investors effectively handled basically COVID-19 situation. It was the first CPEC hydropower project which was commissioned 1 year ahead of time. Next, please. Now, the conclusion is that 720 megawatt Karot Hydro project has established a lot of success stories. The project is providing clean and green energy to the national grid and is also improving the living conditions and the prosperity of the local community and the people of Pakistan. Thank you very much.
No doubts about it that 720 megawatt Karot hydropower project is a success story, and it wasn't possible without the support of Mr. Zubairi and government of Pakistan and people of China. Now I would like to request Mr. Asim Javed, project management consultant, to represent hydropower projects, the analysis of reality versus myth. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for Asim Javed.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much, Energy Update and International Hydropower Association. First of all, I would like to congratulate this team for arranging such a great forum to discuss the importance of hydropower. I am not here to specifically present some specific project, but as a data analyst and financial analyst, I'm here to explain some myths about the hydropower and the reality about those myths. And it will be very short and crisp and data-oriented presentation. I would like to request your attention to understand the working behind a hydropower project so that you can understand the myths created about the hydropower and how to handle them while you are negotiating or you are discussing the importance of hydropower with someone. So let's start. Please. So, okay. So, if you don't mind, let me know. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. So, as it stands means that we'll start that at what stage we are currently now. So as per the latest published figures publicly available, we have 43,775 megawatt of installed capacity. And please. And during calendar year 2022, actually we produced 137 terawatt hours of electricity. And in 9 months of calendar year 23, we produced 105 terawatt hours. So if we look carefully into these numbers, one thing is very evident that our demand served is increasing with each passing year. So I've analyzed the data of last 12 years and I found that on average we are increasing our demand served by almost 5.75%. And during the last 2 years, 3 years, when we were facing the difficulty of economic conditions in the country, and we were saying that the Pakistan is going to be default very soon. Even in that condition, our demand served was increased by almost 11%. So one myth about the sector as a whole, not about specific about the hydropower, is that over the time our demand is decreasing, which is not true as per the published figures. These figures are taken from the Power System Statistics, which is a renowned publication by National Transmission and Distribution Company. So our per capita consumption is 439, which is very low when we compare to neighboring countries and other countries which are at the same stage of development as Pakistan is. We have our basket price of 25 to 30 rupees per kilowatt hour, although this is a very debatable figure, because sometimes the officials from the ministry, they told us that this figure is around 45 rupees. And even in his speech in the morning, Mr. Minister said that our cost is around 15 cents, so which is around above 40 rupees. Our circular debt, as published, although it said it is more than 2.8 trillion rupees, but the published number where I got it, it is 2.31 trillion. So this is our current situation. The next question is how we reached over here. Next, please. So why we landed here, means why we are facing these kind of troubles and these kind of circular debt things and the mismanagement. So it is impacted by many factors, which is planning, infrastructure, socio-political factors, energy mix, and mismanagement. So planning actually caused inaccurate estimates of the demand. So we right from 1994 to 95, we were always heading towards, we are over capacity, we are under capacity. So we are oscillating between these two extremes. The oscillation is, of course, some part of it is systematic, some part of it is non-systematic. Some parts are out of control of the planners, like the economy of the country, but many other parts were in their control. So this caused a trouble. Similarly, the old infrastructure installed in the country that also contributed into this mess. Next. Keep doing. And to cut it short and to come to the main point, because everyone knows this and we all daily read these kind of thing in the newspapers. So let's move to the next point, that what happened to our energy mix over the years. So I have plotted data between 1981 and 2021, 2022. So the blue line you are seeing is the hydropower, and the orange one, if I'm not colorblind, sorry, the orange one is the thermal generation. So over the time you can see from specifically from 93, 94, we actually did not encourage the further development of the hydropower, and those policies actually encouraged the development of thermal generation. So the gap kept increasing over the time, but starting from early 2000s, we also encouraged the investment in the renewable energy, which is going on a slow pace till now. So this is the main trouble, this is the main point which caused the trouble to the overall problems of the power sector today. Next, please. So why did we not develop the hydropower over the time? The hydropower was developed by public sector initially and then by the private sector after 1995 hydropower policy. So public sector slowed because of the funding issues, although I forgot the name of the representative of the WAPDA. They said that they will increase the capacity from 9,000 megawatt to 24,000 megawatt. We have 9,000 some megawatt today, and till 2030 will reach 24,000 megawatt. This means that we are jumping around 15,000 megawatts in like 6 years. So what I have heard about the hydropower and what I have learned over the time, it takes almost 8 to 10 years to develop a project, and then developing 15,000 megawatts just in 6 years, that will be a miracle, and I hope that we achieve that.
So those projects have started well before.
Okay.
Those haven't started today.
Okay. Okay.
They're on the way.
Okay. Thank you for correction. So then the private sector was always faced by certain myths. It was told that private sector is so expensive, private sector is inefficient, they work for the profits and blah blah blah. And because private sector was mostly developing the run-of-river projects, so it was said that run-of-river projects are not reliable, they do not meet, the hydropower projects do not contribute to the base load, and they do not follow the pattern of the demand. And second thing was told that hydropowers in the private sector especially, they are very expensive, so we cannot do that. So there are other factors, but because I'm a financial analyst, I'm a data analyst, so I can put a light on to reliability factor and the economic viability. Can we please go? So my first conclusion or my first hypothesis is that it is reliable. So hydropower, as I can say, it's an on-demand energy. It produces, it generates only when you need it, and it's nature way of generating energy. Let me explain through some data that why this statement is true. So this is data of year 2022, because for 2023 I did not have the year, complete year data, so I plotted the 2022 data. The blue line shows the average demand served during the year, and the orange line shows the contribution of hydropower in the total energy supply of the country. So if you see carefully, the hydropower is actually following the pattern of overall demand. On x-axis there are months, so in different months the energy demand goes up, and in certain months it goes down. So whenever the energy demand goes up, you can see the hydro goes up. It completely shadows the overall demand of the country. Next. Very interesting thing. Actually, while I was preparing this presentation, I wanted to show this chart first and the second one last. But then I thought that people may say that you are showing historical data. But historical data shows a very good picture, a very surprising fact that similarly in this case the average demand is shown in the blue line and the hydropower generation is shown as the orange line. So as you can see, it totally shadows whatever my demand was, demand served actually I should say. It was demand was higher, but we were facing the load management at that time due to certain factors between 2012 and 2018. So whatever demand we served at that time, the hydropower was completely, following that path. And this data is taken from the NEPRA site. So whatever CPPAG submitted to them, this is from there. So it's not my own invention. So the first thing is it's reliable. I just showed you that why it's reliable and why it produces, it generates only when it is needed. So second thing is what is said about the hydropower is it is very expensive. So I'm saying it's very cheap. My hypothesis is that this is very cheap, and it more than meets the eye, less than hits the wallet. So let me take 4 different perspectives on this thing, and for that thing I need to make certain assumptions. So I assumed, please carry. So I assumed that there is a project of 250 megawatt, just a random project, and I have taken the cost as $2.2 million per megawatt. So the total cost is $500 million, and then I assumed the generic numbers used by the different project sponsors and the NEPRA for the determination of the tariff. So I considered a capital structure of 75 to 25%, and I have taken an interest rate of 5.35%. Now 5.35% is taken because during year 2013 and 2018, most of the hydropower projects were developed, and at that time the LIBOR was, average LIBOR during those 5 years was 0.75%. So instead of taking the higher side of the LIBOR and skewing my analysis to a wrong destination, I just used an average LIBOR during those 5 years. So the interest rate was 5.35%, and I assumed loan repayment of 12 years, which is very, very common in all hydropower projects. Concession period for all hydropower projects is taken as 30 years, and economic life is minimum 60 years. So O&M cost is taken as $5 million per annum, plant factor on the average side I took 50%. And so annual energy will be 1.09 terawatt hours or 1095 gigawatt hours. So insurance cost is 1% as allowed by NEPRA, and 16% is IRR, which NEPRA uses to determine the tariff for hydropower projects. So I distributed this energy of 1095 gigawatt hours exactly according to what I showed in the previous slide, that during different months, the energy is higher. Some months it's higher, in some months it's lower. So in summer there is the maximum generation from the hydroelectric projects, and in winter it's down. So I assume this. So these are my assumptions, and I've taken these on the normal range, so nobody can say that this is these are used to determine some specific kind of result, please. So now let's see the first perspective. Why this hydropower is cheap? So first perspective is a hydropower project has 3 phases. In first phase, we are repaying the loan of the project. So during loan, our major payment is to the lender of the project, because as per our assumptions, we said that 75% of the cost is financed by the bank and 25% is from the equity. So during loan repayment, for this project, 43 million will be going out, $43 million, I mean, will go out for the repayment of debt. For return on equity, it will be $20 million, and O&M, as we assumed, it is $5 million per megawatt, and insurance is $4 million. So during the loan repayment, my total as a country, I would be paying $72 million to the project for first 12 years as a power purchaser. And based on the number of units we assumed for this project, which are 1095 gigawatt hours, so my tariff would be 6.57 cents. The second stage of a hydropower project financially is the period after the loan, that is from year 13 till 30. 30 is the concession period. So after loan, my tariff will become 2.76 cents, because I will not be paying the debt anymore. My debt is already paid. After 30 years, for private sector, these projects are transferred to some government, some provincial government, like as Zubairi Sahab told that the crore will be transferred to the Punjab. So if these projects are in AJK, they will be transferred to AJK government. If they are in KP, they will be transferred to the KP government. So after that, there will be no return on equity. After that, there will be no debt repayment. There will be no insurance requirement. And the only cost will be the O&M cost of the project. So during that period, the tariff will become 0.46 cents. So this is the first perspective. We say it's expensive because during the first 12 years, the tariff is higher because of the debt. The next perspective, the second perspective, this data was published by CPPAG on, actually it was submitted to NEPRA, and NEPRA published it on their website. This is the energy procurement report. So in the energy procurement report of October 23, these are the various sources from where the CPPAG as a power purchaser procured the energy. So from Hydel, they actually procured certain kilowatt hours from coal, local coal, imported coal, furnace oil, and RLNG. So I have compared these numbers. I have calculated the total energy purchase price for these projects. So Hydel is of course winner because most of the Hydels at this time are operated by WAPDA, and those projects are, they have already paid their debt, so their tariff is low. But if we look clearly, the local coal and imported coal, their energy purchase price is higher than the total tariff of our assumed hydropower project. And we have taken the cost on the higher side, we have taken the return on the higher side. So during the loan repayment, the tariff of the previous hydropower project, our assumed hydropower project, is 18.4 rupees per kilowatt hour. And this is cheaper than local coal, imported coal, RLNG, and even import from Iran. So why this is happening? Because first 12 years, the tariff of hydropower is much higher. So once we repay the loan, the tariff of the hydropower becomes 7.33 rupees, 7.73 rupees. So you can see that will become much cheaper. Any hydropower project will become much cheaper after 12 years. So if we make decision keeping in view the first 12 years of a hydropower project, we will never be able to develop any kind of hydropower. So we should look a big picture. Our vision should be extended towards the future as well. And we should see that this project will become cheaper after 12 years and almost free after 30 years, because when it is transferred to the provincial government. So this is the second perspective. The third perspective, that's very interesting. You know, in this slide, what I did, I put all the energy in descending order. So in some months, for example, in August, I am producing the most. And then July, I have the second best, and blah, blah, blah. And in January, I am producing the least energy. So what happens actually, can you please move? So my product value is my tariff during the first 12 years. That was 6.57 cents. I multiplied that tariff with, just a second. So in first 12 years, the tariff was 6.57 cents. So I multiplied that with energy. That is the total value I contributed in the system. So the product value was 10.96. But what power purchaser pays? Power purchaser pays 12 equal installment to the power producer. So he is actually paying 5.99. He is taking a value of $10.96 million, but he is paying 5.99. Can you please move? Because I need to be fast. So there is a surplus and there is deficit. So sometimes my actual due amount is higher, but I am getting paid lesser. And sometimes my actual due amount is lesser and I am getting paid higher. So this surplus becomes zero at the end of the year. But the months where the power purchaser is paying me less, if I calculate the net present value of that stream, it becomes $1.37 million. So this is the benefit which power purchasers can enjoy by utilizing the funds which are paid lesser in the summer months and use them in the winter months. So fourth perspective and the last one, sorry, Ms. Lima. Please go on. So hydropowers, like when compared with other technologies, their onshore cost is about 70%, and this 70% local contribution to the economy will impact the other industries. I'll cut it short. I'm already getting late. So this will impact the other industries and other sectors of the country as well. So this everybody knows. I think I won't waste your time on this. Keep doing. So my conclusion is, please consider it as your friend in need and treat it like a friend in need. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
I have my question to you.
Yes. Yes.
The Honorable GM Wabda said his tariff is 3.50 rupees.
Yes. This is very interesting question.
And
Yes.
my honorable friend, Mr. Zuberi, said his tariff is 7.5 cents, approximately, or 18 rupees.
Yes.
Why this big difference we as a nation being paid? And can you tell me that how the Wabda tariff is so cheap and Mr. Zuberi's tariff is so expensive? The basic ingredients are where the difference is, please.
Okay, this is very, very important question, and this is, I have researched about this. I could have included this in presentation as well, but that was not the topic, so I avoided it. So there are three main differences. I'll be crisp, so because I'm being asked to speed it up. So there are three basic differences. One is the economies of scale. Because when we are developing number of projects, then we can divide the cost, we can achieve the economic economic cost management in that case. So WAPDA is developing so many projects. They have a very big team of engineers, very expert people already working with them. For a hydropower project, when an investor comes, he need to hire the team from the local professionals, and they charge very high. And that is the one reason. The second reason is the required rate of return. So for private sector projects, because they are taking higher risks, so they charge a higher IRR, but the government projects, they charge the lower IRR. And the third thing is the loan terms, because WAPDA projects are financed mostly by the World Bank, and those banks provide concessionary rates to government and public sector projects. Those facilities are not available to the private sector projects. And the last thing is, the fourth one I just recalled in my mind, is that we as a private sector investor, we need to recover everything during the 30 years concession period. This is not applicable to WAPDA. They own the project, they keep it forever until its economic life is deprecated. So for private sector investor, he need to hand over the project after 30 years. So he need to recover each and every cost in those 30 years. I hope I... Thanks.
Thank you so much, Asim. I know Asim and I are standing between the reality and myth of this conference right now, but the fact is, the reality is that lunch is served, and vitamin D is waiting for you all outside this hall in the lawn, and have a very lovely lunch, and then we'll resume the session at 2:40. We have a very dynamic representation from Pakhtunkhwa Energy Development Organization, Engineer Imran Halim, who is Chief Engineer actually from PEDO, and he's going to represent the hydropower fact sheet and its developmental challenges in the sector. With a huge round of applause, I would like to welcome Mr. Imran Halim.
जी हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम अच्छा ठीक है इसमें वीडियो ओके thank you so much energy update, and energy update really need a huge appreciation, and I congratulate energy update on this successful event arrangement. Actually, there are two type of extremities, one before lunch and one after lunch. Before lunch, normally everybody is waiting for, this thing to speed it up. But after lunch, things are a bit, lazy, slowy, so I'm at this part. Actually, this presentation will be covering three aspects of the projects. The first part will be about the PEDO projects, its development and achievements we have so far. Actually, CEO Saab has already explained each and everything, but in the video form, we will be presenting it to you. Second part will be related to the importance of hydropower projects. Some fact sheets were there regarding the global development, regarding the regional development, but Eddie Ritchie and the successive presenters have already covered that part. So I will keep my presentation real short, and I'll be changing it to two parts. One will be the video about the PEDO, other will be the challenges and the benefits of hydropower project. So first we'll be starting with the video of PEDO, and after that we'll be talking a little bit about the challenges and benefits of hydropower projects. Video.
Part-2 Energy Development Organization, striving hard for sustainable and green energy. Energy and Power Department, Government of Part-2. Pakistan has a hydel potential of more than 60,000 megawatts, out of which 30,000 megawatts is located in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The total installed capacity of hydropower stations in the country is about 10,251 megawatts. Out of this, 6,000 megawatts is in KP, which is more than 55%. In addition, a number of hydel projects with total capacity of about 771 megawatts in KP are under PIDO implementation. 6,000 megawatts of hydel potential has been identified by PIDO, which is under various stages of planning. PIDO is an important implementing agency of Energy and Power Department, Government of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. PIDO has been mandated to harness the available hydropower as well as other renewable energy potential in the province. PIDO has completed and operationalized a number of hydropower projects which are not only adding cheap electricity to the national grid but is also a source of sizable revenue generation for the provincial government. PIDO has so far completed 8 hydropower projects with a total capacity of 171 megawatts. Another 3 hydropower projects with cumulative capacity of 62.8 megawatts will be completed in current financial year 2023. These projects will earn revenue of 2.805 billion rupees per year after their completion. 4 more projects are under construction with provincial funding, ADP and HDF, with cumulative capacity of 174 megawatts. And are at various stages of implementation, and will be completed in coming 3 to 4 years inshallah. These projects will earn revenue of 6.7 billion rupees per year after their completion. Provincial government has signed agreement for construction of 300 megawatts Balakot HPP District Mansehra through Asian Development Bank financing. This is the largest HPP of PIDO so far. The consultant for project has been appointed and EPC contract has been awarded and mobilized. Detailed design is in process while basic design has been completed. Physical work has been started with good progress. The project will be completed in 2027 with expected annual revenue of 25 billion Pakistani rupees per year. Moreover, the World Bank is financing the 2 projects Cabral Kalam HPP and Madyan HPP with total capacity of 245 megawatts in public sector. The PC1 has been approved from ICNAC and planning consultant has been appointed. These projects will be completed in 2027 with expected annual revenue of 24 billion Pakistani rupees per year. Apart from executing public sector power projects, PIDO has also been focusing on development of several energy projects, both solar and hydel in the private sector with an aggregate capacity of about 2,000 megawatts through public-private partnership, PPP, G2G basis and private sector IPPs. PIDO is a one-window facility to the investors and sponsors in setting up hydropower projects and other renewable projects in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa under the KP Power Policy 2016. It provides support to investors and sponsors in dealing with various provincial and federal government entities. Apart from hydel power plants, PIDO also has mandate to deal with solarization of public offices, worship places, unelectrified villages, schools and basic health units. In this regard, several public offices have already been shifted to solar energy through net metering mechanism. Also 5,700 solar home systems is in the off-grid areas of the province. 5,900 worship places along with 900 worship places in the merged districts have been completed. Similarly, solar projects with cumulative capacity of 28 megawatts is in progress with annual savings of 1,107 million Pakistani rupees to provincial government and will be completed in 3 to 4 years. PIDO also initiated the Social Uplift Schemes Access to Clean Energy Investment Program with the financial assistance of ADB to provide cheap and environment-friendly electricity for the local community in far-flung areas across the province. In order to improve the livelihood of the people, create employment opportunities and discourage deforestation. Project Access to Clean Energy Investment Program has 2 major components. 1. Construction of mini micro hydropower plants, MMHPPs, in northern districts of KP. 2. The solarization of schools and basic health units. Through phase 1 of this project, 316 numbers of MMHPPs with capacity of 29 megawatts have been completed. This project benefited a total of 140,000 people in the 12 northern districts of province. Similarly, solarization of 8,000 schools and 187 BHUs has been completed through this project. This will not only provide clean and uninterrupted power to approximately 1 million students and 2 million population through health facilities in far-flung areas, but will also lead to savings of approximately 400 million Pakistanis rupees per annum and creation of 320 jobs. Through phase 2 of this project, 291 numbers of MMHPPS with capacity of 47 megawatts is in progress and will be completed in December 2024. This project will benefit a total of 550,000 people in the 14 districts of the province. Assalamu alaikum. This video is prepared and designed by Planning and Development Wing.
Okay, so this is PUDO. Actually, when we look to the mandate of PUDO under one roof, we are working on public sector projects, we are working on private sector projects, we are working on public-private partnership projects, we are working on solarization, and at the same time we are working on mini-micro, which are providing electricity to the different consumers at the off-grid area where the load shedding is there. As earlier stated that because of these initiatives, it's actually supporting the grids, which has a lot of problems. So now I will try my level best to keep it short, because much of the discussions and conversation has already been done, which I was going to present. So please, next. These are the global factors. These are the global facts and figures regarding the electricity generation for the whole world. If you see, the hydropower is there with the 17% contribution. Next. Then we have some global and regional hydropower facts, which is showing basically the available potential as per the 2021 facts and figure. Right now, the total installed capacity is around 1360 gigawatt, which I think in the 2022 and 2023 has reaching to 1400 gigawatt. And on the other side of the information for the global facts, you can see the two information. One is related to the hydropower generation, and another is the pump storage. So pump storage is very important right now for the mitigating intermittency of the solar generation. So that's why it's catching up with the increase addition of the solarization in the energy mix. So that's why you can see the numbers of the pump storage, that only at this 2021 4,700 megawatt has been installed for the pump storage, and overall total is around 16,500 megawatt of pump storage. Regarding the installed capacity, as I stated earlier, is 1360 for the hydropower, while up to 2021 the total installed capacity in this 2021 year was around 21.3 gigawatt. Next, please. This is a very, very important slide because it tells us about the IGCEP. IGCEP, like the planning at the national level, the present information given in the slide is for the 2022 June. The total installed capacity as per the information in the IGCEP is 37,949 megawatt. Where you can see the important factor is the renewable part, hydel and renewable. 34% is at the June 2022, while when we are going and planning the energy mix, which is basically transitioning toward the indigenous renewable resources, the hydro and renewable combined together will be 64%. But now the question is whether it will happen or not. Because as we are looking at the general perspective regarding the activities going on, looking like this much generation at the hydel level will not be there, because up till now we are discussing the generation plan and its acceptance. At the same time, TCEP is already not there. Next slide. Next. Already done. Next. 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 We have already discussed it earlier and in the video as well. Okay, this slide will tell you about the advantages of hydropower. Actually, many of the members have discussed the importance of hydropower projects, but here point number 2 and point number 6 is very important, which I'll be explaining in the next 2 slides. One is the positive impact on the basket price because of the hydropower generation, and the second one is at point number 6, reliable and peak power supply during the peak demand. Actually, as explained earlier by Mr. Asim, that basically the demand pattern and the generation pattern of the hydropower is following each other very closely. In the summer, the demand is high and the hydel generation is higher. At the winter, the hydel generation is lesser, but the demand is also lesser. Next slide, please. This is a very important slide. I think Asim has explained it in a very detail with the other numbers. But when you look at the NEPRA determination of power purchase price for the year 2023 and 2024, you will see these numbers. These numbers are very significant. It is about the capacity purchase price and the energy purchase price for the total generation. At this stage, like we have considered hydel, imported coal, local coal, furnace oil, gas, LNG, and the other sources of generation. When you look at the right side, the chart, you will see that the hydel generation, the power purchase price is 6.94 rupees per kilowatt hour. But when you look at the solar, the other part, the lesser one is the gas one, which is 13.02. So basically, as explained earlier, the hydropower is one of the source which actually bring down the basket price when we are actually considering the whole energy mix. So this slide is significant in a way that 6.94 at the hydropower price is very reasonable, and it should be encouraged for the future generation strategies. The next one. This is also a very important slide related to the seasonal variation, as I earlier explained, and the demand pattern of Pakistan. I have taken these information from the 2021 IGCEP. Actually, Asim has explained this information for the present value from 2012 up to 2023. But I'm actually capping it the 2028 and 2029 forecasted generation where the hydropower is shown. You will see the two parts of this chart. The first part is the winter generation of hydropower projects, and the other part is the summer generation for the hydropower projects. The pink bars are basically the total demand, while the blue ones are basically the hydropower generation. So actually, as Asim was talking about the myth of hydropower projects, it is normally told us that when it comes to the hydropower, it's kind of intermittent, it is kind of seasonal, and that's why it should not be encouraged, but the thermals, another part of renewable projects, should be encouraged. Actually, when you look at the numbers and you analyze it, for the winter season, I have taken the 4 months, November, December, January, and February. In these 4 months, the hydropower generation is very lesser. But when you average it out, it's around 35% of its availability factor. For example, if 100 megawatt project is there, so in these months it will be giving around 35 to 40 megawatt of the power. For only 1 month it will be giving around 20 megawatt. But when it comes to the summer pattern of generations, like for one of the July, if I consider the July number, the July month, the total generation, forecasted generation demand will be like 23,000 megawatt approximately. But in the summer, only hydel will be providing you around 14,262 gigawatt hours. So basically, at the summer, it's almost capping up like 50% of the generation is fulfilled by the hydropower generation, and the remaining. So when you look at the left side of the graph, if we increase the generation of hydropower in this energy mix, so definitely it will have a very positive impact by bringing down the cost. And if you see the blue part in the curve in the chart, you will see a maximum part of the generation over here. So when we technically analyze it, there is still a provision of adding more hydropower to reduce the gap for the imported coal, imported RLNG projects. We can reduce their generation by adding more hydropower projects. Next, please. These are some general challenges for the hydropower projects which already have been explained by the WAPDA, GM WAPDA. Environmental concerns, high initial cost, capital cost is there, technical challenges are there, social, financial. So these are the general challenges. But next. This is a very important, the last slide of the presentation. Actually, in this whole session, in this whole discussion, there were two things prominent during the whole debate and discussion and presentations. One part is the importance of hydropower projects, and the other part was how to address the challenges for the development of these hydropower projects. So if we recap the whole presentations and the talking points of the different dignitaries, it tells us that yes, it is concluded in this session of the energy update that yes, hydropower is very important for the energy mix of the country, because it's the only reliable source which will bring down the tariff for the whole energy basket. But the main problem, the practical problems we are facing is the changing policies, the poor planning. Like I will quote some of the example and then I will conclude, because after this we have a short of time for the other discussions. So for the changing policies, like change is very important, and this is the only permanent thing which we see in the whole scenarios. But the main problem is when it's positive. In this case, like for example, we have a lot of policies and we have been part of it. PUDO and the government of KP have been part of it. Like we have been part of the IGSEP, we have been part of the National Electricity Policy 2021, we have been part of the National Electricity Plan, we have been part of the Air Policy 2019, we have been part of the CTBCM, we have been part of the EPPR 2022. But all these changes, regulations and frameworks has not reinforced the development, but it has caused damage to the investment. It has caused damage to the timelines, the plans which we had. For example, like back in 2016, we initiated some competitive tariff bidding. This was the first ever competitive bidding in Pakistan for hydropower projects. And KP government, PUDO initiated that competitive bidding. In June 2018, all the two projects, I mean 201 megawatt projects, got the tariff, competitive tariff from the NEPRA, got the generation license, and the only thing we were waiting was to get gazette notification of those projects. Unfortunately, since 2018 until now, we have not got that gazette notification. But in this era, we are talking about the competitive regime, we are talking about the least cost regime. Unfortunately, we got failed over there, we are getting failed over here. Because when we go into debates, whether it's with the private sector developer, whether it's for the public sector development, things are not aligning, things are not properly planned. So like all the developers, the public sector developers have investment huge amount in the feasibility studies, getting approvals, permits, all the requirements of the development. But unfortunately, now we are sitting in times where we are going to decide whether these projects should be included or not. This is a wrong perception. This is a very bad for the foreign direct investment in the region. The second thing is, like the RE 2006 policy was introduced in 2006, it was up till 2018 March. In these whole timelines, only 500 megawatt solar, I think, they got operationalized. But all the projects which we initiated got the lowest tariff, 3 cents, 3.5 to 3.9 cents tariff. All projects got the generation license, tariff, evacuation had not a big problem for them. Everything was ready. But then we came and we decided to have the least cost and the competitive regime. And all the foreign direct investment in the poor terror hit area have been discouraged. So then it's about the planning. We said, okay, that's fine, not a problem. We continued with the development process, and then there was a thing coming in 2019 that there will be IGSEP, Indicative Generation Capacity Expansion Plan. I think most of the developers over here are victim of that IGSEP plan. And the numbers are showing that things are not. I think Asim has already given a very detailed presentation on the feasibility, viability of the hydro projects. But unfortunately, nothing came out of it. Why? No proper planning. Because when IGCEP had to be approved, there had to be a transmission system expansion plan, which was not there. I think which is not here right now, and we'll be waiting for it. So, like concluding this whole thing, I will not talk much about the other issues. They are project specific. I will not go into detail for that. But the whole thing, if I'm concluding, is basically the L planning, the changing policies, which is damaging, which is not positive, but damaging the whole investment. And the third thing is, presently at this point in time, we are sitting and we see, I personally see, because I have been part of this whole drafting of the policies, negotiations and discussion, and I see, I confirm it to you people, that nothing positive will happen until and unless we sit together, all the stakeholders sit together, and we think on the positive development of all the energy projects. Like for me, the thermal coal projects are as much important as the hydro projects are important. For me, the local indigenous projects are as much important as the hydro or the small hydros are important. But we should also keep this thing in mind, that the dollar component of the other technologies, we are dependent on that. So like the present case, we can see the LCs are not opting for the solarization provision, the cheap, but it's getting delayed. We started under the IGCEP the retirement of plants, but we are not doing it because on the other side of the TCEP and the transmission system planning for the transmission system investment, it is not there. So a lot of things are there. It can be resolved only when we sit together and we listen to each other, unbiased way. Thank you so much.
Sorry, the time is too short. Thank you very much, Engineer Imran Halim, for this extensive presentation. We would have listened to you more, but due to the time constraints, we have to keep it a little short. Now, it's time for the panel discussion. I would like to request our panelists for this hydropower benefits, challenges, and investment panel to join us on the stage. I would like to request Dr. Munawar Iqbal, DG Hydropower PPIB, to join us on the stage, sir. Mr. Khalid Faizi, prominent private sector hydropower developer. Dr. Parvez Naeem, external advisor, KfW Development Bank. Mr. Muhammad Tanveer Abbas, chief engineer, head dam section, SPARC. Session, and I hope I'll do justice to this panel, having these experienced professionals with me. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll start with Faizi Saab. So we are talking about the challenges and investment. And now that we have enough thermal power, which gives us the capability to cater the fluctuation in hydro, wind and solar, don't we need to invest in hydropower to bring the price of electricity power down?
Yes, hydropower. Hydropower will continue its importance because at the moment approximately 60% of the world capacity is thermal and over 30% is coal, and it's very important to meet the climate goals to retire the coal generation plants and add solar and wind. Solar and wind are intermittent technologies and do not have grid stability characteristics. They don't help frequency control. So hydropower must be added to provide those facilities. So I think that hydropower has a bright future, even though the renewables are taking the front of the stage at the moment. And everybody is talking about solar and wind. But together with solar and wind, hydropower is ideally placed to provide frequency control and address the intermittency of renewables.
In continuity with this question, how do you think we can attract the investors to come and invest here in Pakistan with this long construction delays of the projects?
Okay, so hydropower faces difficulties and risks, and the long development and construction period is one of those risks. There are other risks, for example, the environmental risks, resettlement, remote locations, and so on. And these risks affect the bankability of hydropower projects. So obviously when banks look at a project, they evaluate the risk, and if the risk is great, they would go for projects with lesser risk, which are the thermal projects. So there is more inclination of investors and bankers to fund thermal projects rather than hydropower projects. So the government should address the difficulties that hydropower projects face. For example, they should be more lenient in terms of cost overruns, which are not specifically due to the negligence of the contractor, but are inherent in hydropower. They should also allow refinancing of hydropower projects after commercial operations, because that's when the risk has all been, the highest risk is up to commercial operations, and after that the risk is much low, and you can refinance at better rates. So the government should allow that. Private-public partnerships where the investors invest in the plant and equipment and the government invests in the heavy infrastructure, dams and so on, that's another way that could be looked for. So I think that innovative methods of financing need to be explored, and amongst these are also using carbon credits in the voluntary markets to create innovative financing of these projects. So if these things can be looked at and the financing made easier, I think that would be important. One additional thing is that the long life of hydropower should be matched with the concession period. So there's no point having a short concession period and a long life, because that increases the tariff. So I think it's important to adjust the concession period with the project, the hydropower project life.
So does this implement for the private and public projects both?
Yes.
Okay, great. So how long does it take for the hydropower plant to have carbon emission?
Obviously, hydropower plants have a very low carbon emission number. The carbon emissions in hydropower are during construction, where you have material, services and plant which is installed, and the emissions during operations are negligible. But the reservoir also have some carbon emissions. How quickly you recover the construction emissions depends on the type of hydropower project, because if it's a pumped storage or a reservoir project or run of the river, each of these have different characteristics. And it also depends on the type of grid. If the grid is a highly polluting grid, then each kilowatt hour of hydropower will replace more CO2. And if it's a less polluting grid, then the CO2 replacement would be lower. But generally, it's considered that approximately 10 years would recover the carbon emissions that are generated during construction.
Talking about the carbon emission and during the construction period and the construction of a dam, from a developer perspective, how do you think that the waste is managed for the hydropower plants? The waste for the hydropower plants, how it is managed?
The waste?
The waste.
Construction, demolition.
Yes.
Construction and demolition waste.
The construction and?
Demolition waste.
I mean, you're talking of the
so maybe kind of you can call it an expression and that kind of that is waste. There's no waste.
I mean, excavation obviously is important for hydropower projects because run of the river still has excavation, but the tunneling projects have huge excavation. So are you talking of the carbon emissions that arise out of that?
Where the question is about the waste origin. We can understand from this question that waste maybe when you go for some kind of excavations and you have to plan for its disposal as well or for its utilization.
Yes, usually for hydropower projects, the initial surveys locate and find particular sites where the waste can be disposed, and they are usually valleys which are suitable for that disposal. So that's part of the initial planning.
Well, as I give you the example of T5, millions of tons we are dumping right now at different sites. But for those sites, initially, as you said very rightly, sir, the sites were planned. Now we will shift the spectrum material to those sites. And how those will be done? And what will be its final shape? And which material is used in
Okay, I'm sorry I can't probably answer that in detail because I'm not an engineer, but to the best of my knowledge, you know, in the particular site where the hydropower project is located, you look for suitable site disposals which are environmentally suitable and friendly, and you know, depending on the quantum of disposal, you travel to those sites and dispose of it in those areas, and obviously not dump into the river as we are bringing it out of that.
इसमें मेरा ख्याल है इसकी जो बेहतरीन एग्जांपल मिलेगी वो वक्ता का प्रोजेक्ट है गाजी बरोठा हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट 1450 मेगावाट। उसमें जो पावर चैनल बनाया आपने 52 किलोमीटर लॉन्ग है, 100 मीटर वाइड है, उसके जो स्पॉयल्स हैं उनको इस्तेमाल किया आसपास की ज़मीनों को स्टेबलाइज करने के लिए, और वहाँ पर इतनी उम्दा जगह बना दी कि वहाँ पर बेहतरीन एग्रीकल्चर होती है। मेरे ख्याल ये एक अच्छी एग्जाम्पल है।
Very rightly said. Thank you very much, Faizi Saab. We were just directly asking questions with Faizi Saab because he has another commitment and he has to leave. But we are highly obliged that you were here with us, and it was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we'll continue with the panel discussion, and I'll move towards Dr. Munawwar Iqbal. Sir, according to you, what innovation has PPIB taken and what step PPIB is following to facilitate the investors in hydropower sector specifically?
Thank you, Madam Halima. Since this morning, a lot has already been said from the perspective of PPIB's main areas. Anyhow, specific to your question, from the innovation point of view, I'll come later, but the later part, the investors part, from the facilitation point of view, I would say that obviously in private sector, the investment is a quite challenging job. Obviously in public sector as well, but particularly in private sector, when the private sector worldwide has a lot of venues before them. So why to come Pakistan? Obviously that is the first target. So obviously the first target of the PPIB obviously on the government of Pakistan was to attract the private investment in Pakistan. So from here the onward story starts. So here in PPIB, we have been managing power policies starting from the perspective of hydro, starting from 1995, then to 2002, then 2015. So these are the prominent three power policies. In between there was a 1998 policy, but they could not get any kind of much attraction in that. So anyhow, these three policies somehow was having project under that. So under those policies, there are set programs, there are incentives to the investors, there are certain stages to go, starting from the feasibility study, then the tariff, then financial close, EPC contract, land acquisition, etc., and construction, and then the operation. These are the 5-6 distinct phases. So from the perspective of facilitation to the investor, we start our job starting from LOI, the first stage. So in the LOI stage, normally the PPIB roles comes in when the consultant of the sponsors do the feasibility studies. So during the feasibility studies, the data is the first seed of the feasibility study is the data. So obviously, WAPDA organization has a good bank of data, particularly the hydrological data. So we get data from that. So then next facilitation is the Survey of Pakistan topographic sheets. These are the actually sheets which are used to conduct the feasibility study. Then we help the investors from that perspective. Obviously, going forward, we help them to conclude the feasibility studies. During the feasibility, sometimes they have some security concerns, security facilitation we have. So we facilitate them. We navigate along with them to the various stakeholders. And then in the tariff, and obviously then during the letter of support stage, we have execute the implementation agreement, Government of Pakistan guarantee, and obviously we help to negotiate and execute the power purchase agreements and water use agreements. So all those agreements, and then land lease agreement. So these are the facilitations. We start from day one up to we carry on up to the end and operation, and even they have required the facilitation from the visa invitation point of view. So we also facilitate them in that regard.
And regarding the innovation thing,
Innovation actually, as Mr. Fazi was highlighting, some innovations could be from the perspective of financing, obviously that needs to be looked into. But here, from the perspective of PPIB, that somehow may be called as innovation, but it is not in true perspective. From the perspective of Pakistan, yes, but internationally that is a well-proven technology. We are having the pump storage initiative. In the past, there was a GTC who did ranking studies and identification studies of the hydro projects. So similarly, we are going to initiate an identification study where pump storage sites can be possible, particularly when we are going to have more and more renewable energy kind of sources in our grid, particularly wind and solar. So obviously those kind of sources are not uniform in nature, so their intermittency is need to be covered. So either that needs a heavy battery backup, but the second choice, which is worldwide accepted and tested models, they have a pump storage schemes where during the low demand, maybe in the night, they have surplus energy and pump the water to the upper reservoir, and when we have require more, so we pump down. So we are going to have that study in place. It has been included in CPEC regime, and obviously after the study we will be having 2 or 3 sites to be developed, physically developed, keeping in view of market requirement. So this is one. Recently the PPIP has been, the mandate has been extended to Gilgit-Baltistan area. So we are exploring more hydro development in that area. Obviously we require the regional grids of power execution as well as to connectivity to the national grid as well. So obviously these 2 or 3 are the areas where the PPIB is going to extend its operations.
That's quite interesting to know, and we wish PPIB luck in having these innovations in the industry. My next question is from Tanveer Abbas. What is the role of NESPAC in making Pakistan self-sufficient regarding these hydropower projects?
Thank you. As you know, the NESPAC is the world one of the leading consultancy firms in the world, and also the one of the best in the Pakistan. So NESPAC is providing all the services depending on all disciplines under one roof. And as you know, the NESPARC is one who is involved in the mega projects like Damir Basha Dam, 400 megawatt project, and also Moa Dam project. Also, NESPARC, in terms of hydropower, involved in the multiple low head and small hydropower projects also. Recently, we are going for the projects in Gilgit like Namtar, Hanzar, and in form of improvement, we are doing that. We try to use the maximum potential of the streams and reservoirs in GB region or other regions in Punjab and also in KPK. Same time, we are facing some problems that we are not utilizing the full potential of our all streams. NESPARC incentives, NESPARC's vision is to done some such studies which are international level, also involve innovative techniques and use of advanced technology. Also at the same time doing the research work, we have another separate division for research and development, which are continuous doing some latest research in various fields involving also hydropower. Recent example I will give to you that one project of Gilgit is Hanzar, 20 megawatt. We have going to increase its capacity from 20 to 40 megawatt, and but we are facing some problem from the government point of view that why you are going from 20 to 40, why it was before 20. So we are just trying to explain them that if some stream have a potential, then you should utilize it to its full potential. If you once build one site with some hydropower under capacity, that site will be wasted for the future. So NESPARC engineering team, I also belong to some engineering background, having involved in the multiple hydropower projects. Our main mission is to evaluate, to evolve maximum potential of every site and do our best in a form of engineering, studies and design. At the same time, also the innovation techniques to applying our design.
That's really interesting. And with respect to what you said that about the business hydropower and doing the mega projects and facing the challenges, I would like to move to Dr. Parvez Naeem. What do you think from the broader picture of KfW Development Bank? Is there ease of doing business with respect of Government of Pakistan policies? I know this is a difficult question for you to answer, but still I would like to ask.
I think KfW is the German Development Bank. It's been partner with the Government of Pakistan for the last 62 years, and being a bilateral donor, it basically respects all the national laws and policies. If there are any issues that need to be discussed, then these are discussed at bilateral level.
So with this banking sector, what do you think, that my last question from Faizi Saab, that with the long construction time, how do you manage all these projects with respect to KfW Development Bank?
I think it's understandable. It's understandable that the work is being done in far-flung areas. There are local issues that need to be tackled, and there are at times international factors which affect the time. And the delays are pretty much like you take it as given. So I think this is something that we have to live with.
Dr. Munawar, do you think that PPIB is providing some incentives to the investors when we talk about the investment in hydropower sector?
Yes, as I earlier mentioned that all kind of incentives to be extended is from the government. So it is always the political government which decides, keeping in view its environment, that what kind of incentives are to be extended to the private investment. So obviously in the past there have been almost all the tax-free schemes, except there was a very nominal custom duty even on the import of machinery, which is not manufactured locally. So obviously there was no tax. Recently some tax regime has been introduced, but that is mainly the pass-through regime. It means in any case the private investor is alert to that. So even if later on some tax is added to the benefits of the you can say the tariff regime, so that is normally passed to the consumers. So obviously till now Pakistan has extended almost a tax-free regime to the power sector investors, and particularly in hydro. So it is a good thing, and still it is existent. So I mean, obviously in future, if there is more incentive to be extended or some incentive to be withdrawn, that would be obviously from the perspective of the government, but not from the PPIB.
So PPIB is basically helping the sponsors to have the investment here in Pakistan, and also helping to mitigate their challenges as well?
Yeah, actually as I mentioned that there are 4 or 5 distinct stages. LOI stage, tariff stage, LOS stage, construction stage and operation stage. So obviously all these 5 phases have distinct kind of issues or challenges before the sponsor. So obviously the PPIB being a one window facilitator, we take them along for the purpose of land acquisition, for an instance, for the purpose of security mitigation plans, from the perspective of legal requirement to be managed. So obviously all provinces have their own policies as well. The provincial policies of the land, provincial policy of the other environmental policies. So we are, as from the PPIB, we extend all our support to navigate along with the sponsors to overcome and resolve those issues. So it is always, you can say that the PPIB is a one right or left hand of the sponsor for that purpose.
Very well said, very well said. And in that perspective, Tamir, what do you think that NESPAC is looking at the portfolio of NESPAC? Is NESPAC also looking at acquiring the investment within or outside Pakistan?
Not yet, but we are planning. We have a certain session with international agencies, with some international government partners like MIWA in KSA. We are planning with them, we are discussing with them to invest in Pakistan in sort of, not only in the design perspective, also in construction matters also. So we are progressing in this manner, but not have success yet. But hopefully in the coming future, we will get some success with our discontinuous effort.
Talking about this investment and the benefits, we look at the broader picture of the benefits of hydropower sector, and in that broader picture, what is climate and energy annex of Pakistan and German government? Which benefits are we getting out of it? That's my question from KFW Development Bank.
I think this is something that is kind of obvious, but you can kind of expand on it. For example, KFW has been providing funding since Mangla, Barbela, Ghazi Barota, and now Kyalkhor is another project. So there is a direct connection that you provide clean energy, but now there is a new thing is being added to it, and that is something very interesting. What is happening is that, to give you an example from the Gilgit-Baltistan area, small hydro. KFW is now providing funding for small hydro in Gilgit-Baltistan, and it's something very interesting that is attached to it. What happens is that a certain amount of money is given to the water and power department for setting up small hydro, and then an additional amount is provided for looking at the biodiversity component, looking at the community development, looking at the improving the resilience of the communities, and that is something which is very good. So what you do is that you use the energy component as the center, and then you weave around it a whole lot of issues, a lot of activities which improve the ecosystem, like restoration of ecosystem becomes a component of it. Climate smart agriculture becomes a component of it. Women empowerment becomes a component of it. And it contributes to overall resilience to climate, to the climate onslaught. So I think this is a new model which is already attracting like up to 30 million euro grant is going to Gilgit-Baltistan, and maybe some more will come. And maybe in the few years to come it will be like 50 million euro grant. And that is what it will be looking at. The reason is that we are looking at an area where you have like 5,000 plus glaciers, most of them melting. The snow line is receding by a kilometer or so. And then you have the temperature rise. What we see in the rest of Pakistan, it's much more severe in Gilgit-Baltistan area. That's why you get to see these glacial lake outburst floods affecting a lot of people. So this is something, and the problem that you see here is that because of the lack of energy, like PPI knows that you don't have any grid system there, so you have very small hydropower projects, and that's what you depend on. So like 100 units working there, but these are mostly small, few kilowatt to just a few megawatt, and that is where there is a very like urgent need to invest into Gilgit-Baltistan area, and that I'm very happy that PPIB is taking lead and roping in a private investor into that area. The reason is that you are sitting at the heart of all these water towers of Pakistan, and you have, because of so many tourists coming in, the hotels are springing up, and they are all using diesel generators because they don't get much electricity. And this diesel generator plus the emissions from vehicle plus people burning firewood or whatever, so fossil fuel plus the smoke is one thing, but also the fly ash, the soot that gets deposited on ice and snow, and that is what attracts more, absorbs more solar energy, sunlight, and that increases the temperature of and that's why you get to see more melting. That's a contributing factor to melting of glaciers. So I think these are some, so investing into hydropower and doing it in a way, for example, the way this Pakistan, Germany climate energy program, the way it is structured is that you use the energy project as the centerpiece, and then around it you make arrangements so that you can improve the ecosystem resilience. You can, and that's how you improve the biodiversity situation in that area, the plant life, the animal life, and then you look at the agriculture sector. Can that be made as smart agriculture? And then, like I said, women empowerment. For example, water which is coming to the hydropower project, either incoming or coming from the tail race. Then the villagers are given an opportunity. They look, we can provide you with an irrigation system to your areas, but with the condition that 30% of that you should allocate to women organization. That is a women empowerment direct, and 30% goes to improving the wildlife habitat, and then rest of it, then villagers can. So you see, this is a kind of thing, making a kind of paradigm shift into how things are being perceived. So just looking at energy project in itself, but adding something around it, that's how you go to sustainable development in the area.
Yes, definitely, and my interest with this sustainable development was that 30% is going for women empowerment, and that's very kind of KSW Development Bank, and this is the requirement. And if we talk about the other projects, they're also working on the women empowerment as well, and with this climate change, with the impact of environment with the hydropower sector. They are also working on it, and definitely PPIB is also supporting all these initiatives and supporting all these sponsors and projects to have such kind of initiatives, and they also support them, and even NESPAC has their own criteria in supporting them. One of my last question is from all of my panelists, that Are investments in hydropower technology increasing? If yes, how much? If no, why not? Whoever wants to answer that first.
Because I belongs to PPIB, so obviously we are the handler of private investment. Let me be first. Others can add, obviously. See, till now, the investment in private sector had been increasing. But from past few years, there is sudden stop to it. Actually, since 2007 and onward, you know all that we have been under the severe load shedding problem. So our two governments came, consecutive two governments, rather three governments, and we have been encouraging all kind of investors, technologies, including hydro, including coal, RLNG, imported coal, all kind of. So obviously those all were without a proper planning. So when we reached to 2018, almost to that area, or 17 or 16, so a realization came that we are going to surplus. So then this indicator generation capacity expansion plan kind of thing, the ICSP phenomena came in, and till the finalization of ICSP, all the future investment were either halted or discouraged or stopped till a final conclusion of the IGSEP. And IGSEP is undergone now the third revision, so till now the things are volatile. So obviously all these three iterations have different set of assumptions, because that is just a computer model based planning. So garbage in, garbage out concept is well known concept in this kind of packages. So obviously those are the real are the assumptions which are to be considered and put the data into that Plexo model or any planning model tool. So obviously when we are continuously changing these data, rather nowadays again a set of assumptions is being discussed among the experts. Obviously that is not that we are want to discourage the investors. Actually we want to save our consumers as well at the same time. So obviously we want to move ahead after you can say a well thought process of planning. So that is under process. So that is why in recent years the investment is either stopped or somehow not going forward in that speed which was in the previous few years.
Taken this overview of PPIB, can we just have a verdict of WAPDA as well?
Challenges which are associated with hydropower projects as has been discussed.
Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Actually, I will divide it in two parts. That some years ago there was a good investment we were getting from the donors and from the banks as well, in the shape of loans and other areas. But when you go for a larger project, as hydropower project is concerned, there are many challenges with those projects. Right, starting from the social issues, the settlement issues, technical issues. So those are likely to be delayed in Pakistan. And most above all these issues are the security areas. So with all these aspects, our loans, they get extended, they get on high rates. And secondly, due to the recent economic slump in Pakistan, our rating on liquidity is getting down. So it becomes sometimes very hard for us to find some donor, to find some financer, to come for our projects. So we are left with only some of the donors are coming with us, but they are very wise donors. So sorry with whenever they invest very safely. Never think when something is coming in the shape of a grant, it's really a grant and it's a donation. everything you have to pay its price. It's a shape of a loan as well, I would say, otherwise. And even if your loan remain unspent for a certain period, you pay its amount as well. This is what we have done from it. So these days, it's really very hard to find investment in public sector from the tourists. If you find something, it becomes on very high rates. Yeah, you can go for the commercial loans, which becomes very hard to pull on with your financial benefits for the projects. Anyhow, as PPIB is working that the private sector, they are coming in now, and it's a good sign from the other end. If they can come in with the investors and they can add to our hydropower sector, ultimately it will be beneficial for the country. Thank you.
बात ये है जी कि आप गए फंस, वो फंस कैसे गए हैं कि अभी जो दुबई में कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रही थी क्लाइमेट पर, नहीं साहब भाई साहब आप उसको फॉलो कर रहे थे, तो उसमें एक बहुत मज़े का जुमला है. वो जुमला ये है कि ट्रांजिशनिंग अवे फ्रॉम फॉसिल फ्यूल्स इन एनर्जी सिस्टम्स, किस्सा खत्म. ठीक है जी. अब आपको दमड़ी नहीं मिलेगी फॉर एनीथिंग एल्स बट रिन्यूएबल. तो आपको जो पैसे मिलेंगे वो रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी ही के लिए मिलेंगे. वो हाइडल है, सोलर है, या विंड है, लेकिन अब आपको थर्मल के लिए तो कोई दमड़ी नहीं मिलेगी, किसी को नहीं मिलेगी. क्यों जनाब? सही है PPI. तो ये तो तय हो गया. अब ये आप पर डिपेंड करता है. और इसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात जो ये है, वो हमारे ऊपर एक बात आती है, वो ये कि आपके पास अच्छी प्रोजेक्ट प्रपोजल होनी चाहिए. अगर आपके पास अच्छी प्रोजेक्ट प्रपोजल है, आप इसे डिफेंड कर सकते हैं, आपको पैसे मिलेंगे.
And how about NESPARC? What's the NESPARC's verdict for it?
मैं थोड़ा सा इसमें एक्सप्लेन कर दूँ जो अभी संजय बात क्लोज PSC की कंटिन्यूटी में. Proper planning, proper good proposal. We are lacking in it. हम बहुत पीछे हैं, हमारी कुछ पास की गलतियाँ हैं, हमारी स्टडीज उस लेवल की नहीं है. हमें ज़रूरत है कॉन्फिडेंस डेवलप करने की इन्वेस्टर्स को, ऐसी फिजिबिलिटीज़, ऐसे डिज़ाइन प्रोड्यूस करने की जिस पे डेवलपर को भी और इन्वेस्टर को भी कॉन्फिडेंट हो कि ये डिज़ाइन जो मेरे पास आया है, जो प्रोडक्ट मैं लॉन्च करने जा रहा हूँ वो सही है, प्रॉपर है. सो उसके लिए ज़रूरी है हमारे ग्रास रूट लेवल से कुछ चीज़ें करेक्ट करने की ज़रूरत है. इन्वेस्ट करें हम अपनी टेक्नोलॉजीज़ के ऊपर, एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी के ऊपर, इन्वेस्ट करें अपने हम डिज़ाइनर्स के ऊपर, इन्वेस्ट करें हम प्रॉपर अपॉइंटमेंट ऑफ कंसल्टेंट्स, प्रॉपर कंसल्टेंट अपॉइंट करें फॉर डिज़ाइनिंग ऑफ द हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट. आप रिसर्च वर्क हमारे यहाँ नहीं है हाइड्रो पावर्स के ऊपर. ये जब तमाम चीज़ें ग्राउंड रूट लेवल से सही होना शुरू होंगी तो इन्वेस्टर के ऊपर खुद ही एक कॉन्फिडेंस डेवलप होना शुरू होगा. उसको पता होगा जो मेरे पास एक रिपोर्ट या फिजिबिलिटी जिसके ऊपर मैं इन्वेस्ट करने जा रहा हूँ वो सही है. हमारे यहाँ होता है कि जब वो फिजिबिलिटी इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पे आती है तो वहाँ फ्लॉज आना शुरू हो जाते हैं, डिलेज आना शुरू हो जाते हैं. इन्वेस्टर ये देख रहा है, कई ईयर से देख रहे हैं इन्वेस्टर, यार जो मैं काम मुझे उन्होंने कहा था 3 साल में कंप्लीट होगा, वो नहीं होता.
Sir, probably because academia and industry are not linked.
इसको लिंक करने में गवर्नमेंट या जो स्टेक होल्डर्स उनका बड़ा रोल है. वो अपने हर किसी ने अपने जुरिडिक्शन में रहते अपना रोल प्ले करना है.
We have put in a little effort in on part of energy update. We have put in little effort to we had these PhD researchers, graduates with us today as well, and they were definitely learning from the experience of our industry professionals, and this is a little effort that Energy Update is also doing to engage the industry and academia both.
Inshallah, that will be, then the future will be okay.
Inshallah, we'll hope for the best. Just last pointers from all of the panelists. How can we make Pakistan prosper and better?
Thank you, madam. Because we are now talking with the background of hydropower resource, not in a general sense. So I think we should talk professionally. Definitely, as I presented in my early slides, that to make Pakistan prosperous and for a better future, we have to go for the cheap energy. Very simple. Because these days, you open up your own house or anybody's house, the main issue is the electricity bill. The things start from there. The electricity bill drops to your house and your all budget is vanished. Everything is disturbed. So it means this is I'll just give an example of a house, but you please expand it on the industry as well. If a person wants to launch an industry in Pakistan, either he has to go for his own generators or solar or his own powerhouse, like that. And if we provide us cheaper energy, definitely the industry will be encouraged and the people will get more jobs and Pakistan will prosper. So hydropower is a key to success, to a brighter and to a better Pakistan, I will say. So I think the management of your conference has really taken up the pulse of this country. So I'm thankful to all of you. And it's again my message that the hydropower is our way of our survival and way of our better Pakistan. Thank you.
In only one sentence, hydropower is the only option now. No more half solutions. So invest in hydropower, enhance your potential in hydropower. This is the only way to bring Pakistan progress.
In this dimension, I will want to put few facts. In Pakistan, we have 5, 6, or 7 types of electricity sources: nuclear, coal, gas, oil, hydro, wind, solar, etc. These are the prominent solutions. So, if you talk about coal, investment in coal is near to impossible in future from the international dimensions. China president has last 2 years back has categorically said that no more investment in coal in future. Imported fuels, the government of Pakistan has banned, has decided not to put on our generation, no more generation from imported fuels. So all those fuels, other than hydro, wind and solar, are not possible to be part of, at least of our near expansion of the grid. So only these 3 areas are how I see it. So obviously among these 3 sources, hydro has its own kind of benefits. Obviously wind and solar also have internationally as acceptable nowadays. So obviously we have some thirst and we have some room to accommodate more and more wind and solar, but ultimately the hydro potential, I would say that it would be the main driver of our future energy needs. And obviously hydro, as this morning IHA was highlighting that the development of hydro somehow touches 12 areas of sustainable development goals. So obviously dozens of goals are somehow are being met, are being considered through this technology. Obviously the social elements, obviously the environmental perspectives, the energy administrative perspective, affordable energy perspective. So all those are the sustainable goal SDGs of the United Nations. So obviously if we follow it, obviously I'm sure that our prosperity of Pakistan will be added on if we have more and more hydro in it. Thank you.
मेरा वजह का झगड़ा 2-4 लोगों से जो यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं उसकी वजह ये है कि अगर सिर्फ आप हाइड्रो पे जा रहे हैं, सर्दियों में क्या होता है, पानी नहीं है जी, और हम फिर अल्लाह की यहाँ से बैठे तस्वीर उल्टी सीधी घुमा रहे होते हैं। बात ये है कि आपको बेस लोड चाहिए, और बेस लोड आपको सर्दियों में खास तौर पे, तो बेस लोड कहाँ से आएगी? वो नॉट फ्रॉम हाइड्रो, फिर न्यूक्लियर पर जाएंगे। मेरी बात सुनिए, हम लोगों को जितनी चीज़ें आती थी ना वो हमने ट्राई की हुई। अब मैं यूनिवर्सिटीज़ में जाता हूँ तो मैं देखता हूँ स्टूडेंट्स, हमारे लड़कियाँ लड़के what kind of research they are doing on different kind of thing. कोई बैटरी सोच पे काम कर रहा है, कोई सोलर पैनल की इम्प्रूवमेंट पे काम कर रहा है, कोई नए तरीके से कोई अपना विंड टर्बाइन बनाने की कोशिश कर रहा है. These are the kind of things that really touches my heart. ये फ्यूचर यहाँ बैठा हुआ है, फ्यूचर नहीं बैठा हुआ, यहाँ बैठा हुआ है. मेरा ख्याल ये है कि अपने जो हमें जो कुछ आता है हम वो करते चले जाएं और इनके लिए रास्ता बनाएं ताकि ये आए और इसको सीधा करें. हमसे नहीं हो रहा भाई, सच्ची बात.
With this, I thank my worthy panel, and in addition to that was a cherry on top having Azam Joya Sahab on the panel later. Thank you very much, and I request all these gentlemen to have a group photo as a ritual of this panel discussion. And then I will request Mr. Mohammad Naeem Qureshi to join us for the group photo. Mr. Naeem Qureshi, I would request you to stay here to present mementos to our worthy panelists. First, we have Dr. Munawar Iqbal, DG Hydro PPIB. With a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Engineer Naeem Khan, CEO Pedo, you can join us on the stage as well. बिल्कुल आपको भी प्रेजेंट करेंगे ना वो फैसले से आपके लिए आपकी मैं ऑफिस में जाऊँगी वो क्योंकि वो रीडू होगी ना. ठीक है, that's fine. सर प्लीज. Next is Mohammad Tanveer Abbas, Chief Engineer, Head Dam Section, NESPA. Dr. Parvez Naeem, External Advisor, KFW Development Bank. Mr. Azam Joya, GM Projects, WAPDA. And moderator of this session, Ms. Halima Khan, Head of Corporate Affairs and Sustainability. This I thank my worthy panel. And for the next panel discussion, I would request the moderator, Mr. Zafar Iqbal, Director, Rahman Habib Consultants, to join us on the stage. My apologies. Engineer Imran Halim, please join us on the stage and receive